Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second installment of The Family Show, a retrospective where we discuss the Fast and Furious franchise. There is nothing going on in the world of Fast and Furious right now as to why we have to have the show right now, but we want to talk about it, and that's why we're gonna. First up, we do have a great group of panels here that are going to be here in order to help discuss these films. First up, we do have call sign Coach Kyle, Zach McDonald. Zach, how are you doing?
Great, man. Looking forward to another great night of just talking about the Fast and the Furious. You know, it's the best part of my week.
Yeah, that's the best part of your week.
Hell yeah.
Well, all right. I mean, I can't fault you for that, actually, now that I think about it. But someone else who I bet it's the best part of their week is call sign hashtag Ladies Night, John Lestrina. John Lestrina, I see that you're drinking, but are you hungry?
I'm always hungry.
Absolutely.
And thirsty.
Nice to see you, then. How you doing?
Pretty good. I'm excited. I was excited. I watched this movie twice this week, just because it's so good, and I'm excited to get into that. It's great.
So the normal number of times to watch this movie in a week.
One for each two.
Normally it's about 6 times a week, but I mean, let's not go too crazy, this time around. But
yeah, you're right. When you prep it, you actually have to sit back and relax for a minute. I understand.
Ooh, yeah.
So, but the last but not least, we do have call sign Whiskers, Ferris Muthana. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm ready to kick it up a nickel.
Your username.
Oh shit! I forgot to put that as one of my favorite quotes.
Yeah.
Yo, what do you say we kick this a nickel?
Oh my God! Wait.
Large.
Oh shoot! I meant to write
large.
that one down too. I meant to write that one down too. I'm not as familiar with the Too Fast, Too Furious film in the series as you guys are. I mean, John, it's practically a religion for you. I guess religion, or at least some sort of like a cult following of which you are one of a few members, right?
I mean, it's a ritual. It's cinema classic. I mean, you got John Singleton directing. Holy, I mean, come on, wow. I don't want to jump ahead on your facts, your backstory.
No.
I mean,
we're just going to talk about where it is. Yeah, we're just going to talk about, just real quick before we kind of get into everything, just, a little back, just some history on the film, a few facts. And if you have anything interesting about the film, please interject and share. The movie came out in 2003. It's directed by John Singleton. Vin Diesel did not return for this one. So Brian, played by Paul Walker, he is the sole lead here. Everyone else, including Tyrese, whoever, they're all supporting. He's the main draw this time around. Well, him and the cars. So, and the movie made on a $76 million budget, which is about double the budget of the previous film, which I believe was about $38 million. Worldwide, it made $236 million. So around the same. So it might probably overall with profit made a little less money than the first one. But it did show that there was some franchise viability for this series going forward. But I know, John, you mentioned that there were some interesting facts about the film. I don't know if there's anything specific that you wanted to share.
One of the things.
I have one.
Sorry, Ferris.
My bad.
Yes, John Ferris. Yeah, John Ferris. What's up?
Tyrese was actually supposed to be Ja Rule. This was actually supposed to be a sequel featuring Edwin from the first film and Brian, but unfortunately, Ja Rule, in the process of accepting and not accepting, he gets arrested, so they couldn't cast Ja Rule as Edwin. So we got Tyrese.
They offered Ja Rule $500,000, and he made $15,000 or $1,500 in the first film. Kind of turned it down. So all right, we'll go with Ludacris. But one thing that I always found interesting, there was 2 versions of the script. One with Vin Diesel in it. One without. Vin Diesel didn't think it was a strong enough story as the first one to come back, so he did Chronicles of Riddick instead. And then also that John Singleton was so amped to do this movie because he loved the idea of the first one. I was like, why didn't I think of this? So those are the 2 things that I just love. John Singleton was excited to get involved, and then Vin Diesel, $25 million, and was no, I don't like the script.
It is funny that you say that because the idea of scripts that are one with, one without was I remember very clearly there was similar information with like Independence Day Resurgence that they wrote a whole script with Will Smith in it, and then they wrote a whole script without. In that case, it didn't really work out in their favor. This one seemed to work out just a little bit better, I think. Not
I would say
the main star.
ultimately it was probably good that he turned it down because the movie that we got would have been the movie that we got is very different than what we would have gotten, and I'm very happy with the movie that we ended up with. So
yeah, no, I personally think that the way that the series has gone and the way that it's grown, there's no way to account for if Vin Diesel were to have returned, that the film would have ended up being the series would have been the same kind of series that we know it is to be today, and the cultural influence it has, how far it's reached, how important it's been to have such like a multicultural cast for such a huge billion-dollar franchise. So who knows what would have happened if Vin was like, yeah, I'll do that instead of like, I don't know, Triple X and Chronicles of Riddick, which by the way, I love Chronicles of Riddick. So I'm happy that we got all this stuff to work out the way it did. But more than anything, I really like that we get to talk about this stuff. And now one of the most important parts of Too Fast, Too Furious about the entire Fast and Furious franchise are the cars. The cars, it's what they drive. It's what they do their racing in. It's how they get away from the cops. It's how they do so many of their crazy stunts. So, Ferris, we're going to start with you here. What's your favorite car from Too Fast, Too Furious?
Well, conventional wisdom, it is the Nissan Skyline GT R34. You know, the gold, the chrome and the blue with the blue tint on the bottom.
Why'd you steal my car? I teased this last week, and you just undercut me.
Man, like,
it's the only option.
Answer. Okay. Then here's the thing we should do. That car is not allowed to be picked. Then let's use another car.
Okay, I've got three more listed. So.
All right, cool. All right, then me too, man. Mine is the 1969 Yanko muscle car driven by Fonzie. That one's nice. I like that one.
Was it Fonzie or Fabio?
No. Fabio got Charger.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't know the difference in any of these cars.
I mean, Fabio had the long hair, the ponytail.
The only thing, like for me personally, since I don't have as much to add to that conversation, I like the one that Tyrese was able to eject the seat out of because that one was that's Brian was driving.
That's the
that's that one.
That was one of the muscle cars. That was the.
Yeah, I know it was a muscle car. I just didn't know. I couldn't explain past American Muscle.
Yeah, it was the
good car, right?
Fabio drove the Dodge Challenger, and then Fonzie drove the Yanko Camaro. The Yanko Camaros I'm going with.
All right, interesting. And now, John, since you also aren't allowed to choose the Nissan, what car are you going to go with?
All right, I thought long and hard about this one. There's multiple options. The one I decided to go with is the 1970 Chevy Monte Carlo that Roman Pierce
the roller derby
in the crash car derby
at the beginning,
fucking shit up and just winning it, and it's just got the paint on it, and I was like, you know what? And Bilkin's like, the one the Monte Carlo. I mean,
can I just say,
I love the introduction of Roman Pierce.
That was the introduction of Roman Pierce, right? And then he walks out, and then they have that scuffle on the ground. Excuse me.
Can I just say, homeboys call me Rome.
Only my homeboys call me Rome.
Yeah, well, when Brian and Rome
still fight like shit.
Wait, can I hit it?
I did 3 years for you, Brian.
Getting ahead of ourselves.
Sorry.
You're getting ahead of yourselves, guys. When Brian and Roman started fighting, and it just looked like they were rolling around on the ground as if they were like, we just got to make sure that we quotes, unquotes. Yeah.
It's a schoolyard. It's like a schoolyard. Like a bunch of kids is fighting in the schoolyard.
Is this deal legit? Yup. Told you. Shut the hell up.
I was actually about to cite that, like that I thought was kind of one of the funniest things, but like if you actually think about it, it's really sad. It's like, aren't you supposed to be like, you're not allowed you're not allowed to be further than like 100 yards from your home? And he's like, yeah. Why do you think I parked so close?
Yeah,
I'm thinking like, oh, that's funny, but then I'm like, oh, that's really sad.
That scene gives us one of like the best like modern gifs of like somebody eating popcorn too, as Billikens is sitting there just watching them fight.
My favorite thing is when Brian's like, whatever happens, don't intervene. He's like, I ain't in it.
Can I just say, Bilkins was great. Bilkins was great.
He's awesome.
Bilkins great. It's just like
I love Bilkins.
It's like Bilkins. I love the shirt. It's my day off.
Yeah.
That was great. But Zach, I know that you haven't shared your second favorite car because obviously you had your favorite and that was stolen from you due to semantics. But
okay, so I'm actually going to break the rules because this is not my favorite car of this movie. This is my favorite car of the entire franchise, and it is the 1999 Nissan Skyline GTR R34. Okay, I teased it last episode with Leon's R33, and goddamn it, I'm going to mention it as my favorite car today. Okay,
all right.
So
okay,
but hold on. The 4 best cars in this movie are all in the opening scene. So as far as I'm concerned, the 4 cars that race between Slapjack, Orange Julius, Suki, the S2000, the Supra, the Mazda
RX-7. Yeah, the one. It's the same car. It's the same
all
model.
Of those,
it's the same model
of those
as
cars.
Dom's first car.
Right. Yeah. All of those cars were actually in the Fast and the Furious, but they're all just like souped up and better in this race. You can tell where some of that budget went with this race right here.
Absolutely. So, I mean, part of that budget just went to that one scene where they had to have like 500 different cars that were all like just obnoxiously colored, all scattering about. Yeah. Which, by the way, I just find it so funny. It's just like they have to get away from the police and they just are like, all right, let's get in this sea of other brightly colored cars that are all swarming the streets right now. Just
we got a big one.
Over some unpaid parking tickets. Damn, this seems excessive.
I know my tags are out of date. Damn.
Right. All right. So more than anything now, of course, one of the most important other things besides the car, of course, is, and now these are still early days for the franchise. We don't have Vin. We don't have some of the people like Han that we would have had later on, but we did have Roman introduced. We had Tej introduced, and Brian took center stage. So although we haven't gotten to the full family unit yet, as we know today, there was still some sort of makeshift family that was there.
3 members
at the core of this film. Family. So as a result, now we're going to talk about who you guys think might be the MVP of the family in this film.
Oh shit! All right? I totally did this wrong because I just did the MVP of the movie and not the MVP of the family.
Well, I mean, if it depends. If the MVP of the movie is also a member of the family, then you just say that.
I mean,
if it's separate, I would like. You know what? Let's start with you, Zach. Who is the MVP? And I just want to hear you. All right, fine. Of the movie first. I just want to hear what you have to say.
So I went with Monica Fuentes. Okay. She was undercover for almost an entire year, living with Carter Verone, kind of by Carter Verone's side all the time, ostensibly sleeping with him in order to stay close at all times, really committing to her job as a customs agent. And, she kind of brought it all home. She recruited, she got Brian and Brian got Rome, and they put the team together that made it happen.
Right. It's funny you mentioned Carter Verone, Argentinian, definitely Latinx, the character. I wrote in my notes, Cole Hauser is white.
Yes. Yes.
He's very white. And then I was like, hold on.
Acting.
Is there anything in his heritage that could suggest otherwise? No, he's actually a descendant of one of the Warner brothers. He is definitely not, he is decidedly not Latinx in any way.
I mean,
and then I look at images, and he's definitely has, if not full-on brown skin put on him, he is definitely tanned to hell for this movie.
I mean, they may have just flown him down to Miami for a few months before they started shooting or something.
Because I've definitely seen him in other stuff, and I'm like, he definitely looks darker in this movie. But
he's in Miami.
John, yeah, he is in Miami. But John, who do you find to be the MVP, whether it's a member of the family or maybe of the film itself, in case it's not a member of the family?
All right, this one was a tough one. Honestly, I did think of Monica Fuentes, but I think my answer, who I think is the MVP, who's also a member of the family, is Tej Parker.
Damn.
Tej is the one. Tej is the one
my choice.
Who hits up Brian with like, "Hey man, are you in? Are you ready? You got 4 minutes to come down here, and I'll be there. So he's looking out for Brian. He's the one, Brian's working for him, living in Tej's garage. I mean, he's the one that Brian goes to fix up the cars, get everything hooked up. And then again, as you saw in the big mad scramble, he's the one there orchestrating everything, putting his reputation, his livelihood on the line, because he very easily could have been thrown in jail. I mean, he's leading a bunch of cops on a pursuit. And for some reason, they let him hang on to the walkie-talkie, but I mean, it's whatever. But Tej Parker, not only he's no future spoilers, but he's one of my favorite characters in the entire franchise. I think he's the MVP of this movie, just looking out for Brian, getting Brian, and just really just orchestrating all the street. He runs all the street races. So
and the jet ski races too.
And the jet ski races,
absolutely. I was gonna say. I mean, not only that, he was asked. Why don't you get in the car? Why don't you race? And he says, a few years back, he hit a wall. Then we saw later on he broke through that. You knew that he didn't want to drive, but he made sure to drive to help out his friend Brian because that was more important.
He's always looking out for everybody. I mean, him and Suki too. What's going on with them?
Will they? Won't they? We don't know. I mean, there's
we don't know.
The greatest relationship we never saw on the big screen.
I mean, we don't know what happened. Maybe she did bring it into the shop to the body shop in order to just get her front end checked out. So who knows? So
maybe I will.
Maybe she will. And then it's like, did she kiss him on the cheek? Did she whisper? We don't know. But Ferris, it's obvious that you also were going to go with Tej.
I'm going to piggyback on John. Yeah, I'm going to go piggyback on John. But here's the thing about Tej that no one talks about. You remember that one scene where they're about to race for the pink slips with the muscle car guys, and he says, and at the end of the race, the loser will hand over his keys. If they don't, they'll be eating out of a straw. You understand me? I understand. And then he looks at Roman dead in his eye. He's like, I don't care if you my homeboy's homeboy. You don't hand over them keys, I will break your jaw. And that's where I was like, this homie, yes, this is my dude. He basically said, I don't give a damn who you know. I don't give a damn that you know my dog Brian. You don't follow the rules. You don't obey the code. You lost. You don't, I will break your jaw, bro. I was like, damn, bro. Because he's like, if I lose, just give him the keys. You lost. Fair and square, you lost. And that's why I think Tej is the best. Because he was like, every man has to have a code.
And I mean, I think it makes sense too. I mean, Tej, as we saw with all the races and the jet ski races, he has a reputation to uphold. He's got his integrity is on the line. So, if he says something's going to happen, it's going to happen.
It will happen.
And I do think that it is decidedly for the better, despite the fact that they have a white man in brown makeup. They do now have a black man running races, and they have decided let's not call it race wars. Let's just not do
no
that.
longer doing race wars in these movies.
So
maybe
no more race wars. We don't know.
Spoilers.
Well, yeah, no spoilers, but
no.
it rears its ugly head towards the end.
We invented that. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, mine was also going to be Tej for a lot of the reasons that you guys said. Zach made some very good points about Monica, but what's funny is. Do you think at any point in the whole franchise, Roman has ever felt like the MVP of the family?
I was just going to say there is a strong case for this film that Roman Pierce is an MVP because he's Brian's the one he picked to go with. He thought of. But
here's the thing. Here's the thing. Later on in the films, they make Roman like comedic relief. Or like kind of like he's kind of the scaredy cat. In this film, he's terrifying.
Fucking badass, dude.
Yeah, he pulls out the gun and shoots at the federal agent without hesitation. He shoots at him. He takes off his jacket.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up.
He's also Brian.
He shot the federal agent
as much as he's just like a loose cannon. I mean, he's
that's
stealing from Verone. He's shooting.
Crazy.
He's all over the place.
It's crazy. The dude is crazy.
But he also when he shot at the federal agent, he shot at them, and that it helped cover them keep their covers intact too.
Yeah,
right.
Because
James Remar. James Remar overstepping like
Markham.
what he should have done. He's the worst.
Those punks are running.
Those punks are running. Like, no, here's the thing
black
too.
lighting, though. Great in black lighting.
Here's the thing. When they're like having their argument in that, I don't know, that customs building or whatever that makeshift thing is. I love when Brian's like, man, if Roman really wanted to shoot at you, you wouldn't be here right now. And then he places the gun. So that means like, oh shit, Roman missed on purpose. Like he missed on purpose because he didn't want to kill you, because he would have killed that man. And they made him kind of a scaredy cat later on in the films. Like, I don't want to jump out of a plane. Man, he would have jumped out of a plane if it wasn't Too Fast, Too Furious.
You know, it's funny. I actually thought at one point in the film, because it has been like 10 years or something since I watched this movie, maybe a little less. And there's a part in the film where it felt as though Brian could have easily like ruined his cover. And it was actually, do you remember? Obviously you remember. Monica Fuentes is on the boat. There she goes and checks in, and then like the two guys come and they just start arguing.
Roberto.
Put the gun down.
Well, Monica isn't found out about, right? But then they leave. But before they're about to leave, and Carter comes over in front of everyone. Brian, when he gets the gun, before he hands it back, he does the whole like dismantle, like takes it off and then hands it back to him. Like,
right.
That's what someone with like law enforcement experience would know how to do, probably.
I mean, to be fair, there are multiple times throughout the movie where either Rome or Brian are just openly talking to Monica about her being an undercover custom agent. Like when they're in Verone's club, they're just talking openly about this stuff.
Like
when
when
they're at Verone's house about to eat, and Rome's like sleeping with the enemy, and it's like, dog, what are you doing? Like you're literally
or like
at his pool.
They don't have any idea of how close people are to them. Such as when they were allowed to go free, right at the end there, James Remar takes the 3 bags away. He's like, "Hey, we got more evidence," and they walk away. And he's like, "We can open a shop or open a garage." And then he lifts his shirt up, and they're like 10 feet away from all the cops that they just walked away from.
I mean, but let's also be fair. You know, they pick up Rome from the Derby. They get to the customs warehouse, and they are immediately on the job. So, you know, what do you expect? These guys, they didn't get any training. They got no recon. They had no idea what they were doing. They just threw them right into the fire. And, you got what
Brian has training. Brian was a police officer.
But he was terrible. He was a terrible police officer. Even the debrief he got on this case was minimal at best. And again, Rome has zero context for what's going on. He didn't even ride in the same car as Monica, so she couldn't even tell him what was going on their way to Verone's house.
Rome's got that.
So I think he did a pretty damn good job. Honestly, maybe I should change and give Rome the MVP, because the fact that he didn't blow their cover immediately, I mean, he tried a lot of times, but
he did save Brian.
You know, that is true, because like in this film, Roman is so
I ain't going back
out.
to
Roman is so out of his depth and just so clueless the whole way through, and yet I don't think he fucked up once the whole time. He was like, "I'm here. I'm gonna get my ankle bracelet off, and maybe I'll get back with my friend." I don't know about that, but he didn't screw up once. He was like in on it, and he was a good ally the whole way through. Tyrese,
Sorry, I mean, one of my favorite shots of the film is when the shot of Roman right after when he agrees to do it, and he just looks down at his ankle, and the bracelet's gone. So it's like, hey, man, he's just focused on like, dude, I ain't going back. I don't no more of this. I'm getting straight. Or at least straight in terms of I'm not going back to jail.
You know what I like about this film?
I'm doing this.
Also,
record's clean. Let's go.
It reveals a little bit where Brian's from, because he's not from LA. We find out he's from Barstow, Florida. Like that's where he's from. Like that's the region he's from. So technically, we'll
get into that when we go into our favorite quotes also.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is pretty funny, because his character works perfectly as like a surfer dude in Florida, but also as like an LA bro dude too. Like apparently they're one and the same if you were in the early 2000s. Like,
well, Are we
but
moving
anyways,
into favorite?
Yeah, I was going
to
to say, why don't we just go into favorite lines? I know that you guys are bursting at the seams. I'll get some of mine out of the way real quick, just because I didn't have as many favorite quotes with this film. Because I got to be honest, when I watched the film this time around, I did not enjoy it as much as the first film. I thought the first film was much. I found it to be much more entertaining. There was still a lot of fun stuff in this one here, but I didn't think that it hit me as much as the first one in terms of just like pure fun. But that seems to be a little more subjective. Do you like your films with Vin Diesel or without? So I think that was a big thing that was missing for me. But there is the near the beginning when he just goes, "We hungry," of course. That's awesome the way he says it. And then of course at the end when Brian says, "Pockets ain't empty, cuz," and then Roman lifts his shirt up and just says, "And we ain't hungry no more either." That was the best. That was the best thing, I think, of the whole movie to me. That was the best thing, I think, that I've seen so far in the whole series, even if I didn't like the movie as much. But that's it. I want to see what else you guys have to say.
So
any of you.
My first quote, just because we were just talking about sort of like him being from Florida versus being from California, is a line where I think Roma's trying to ask him about what happened with Toretto and like how he let it get away. I think that's the scene. And Brian says, "I said, forget about it, cuh." And I'm like, every time I see that, I'm like, what is this? What is this accent? Like, where is he supposed to be?
Who is
from?
this man?
What is like, I don't understand. Like, I get it. It's like supposed to be a hybrid of Florida, but then I think it's also supposed to be like, because he's talking to Tyrese, I don't know if it's supposed to have some like hip hop culture sort of influences in the line or what, but it's a very bizarre line. And it always just confuses me. And that's why I love it so much.
They do also frequently go back and forth when they say that. They do say "cuz" and "cuh." They go back and forth.
Right.
There is no like they do not stick to one way to pronounce that word. There either is a Z or there is not.
And even to piggyback off that bit, sorry, Jeff, bro and bruh.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah.
BREH.
Yes, indeed.
Not even BRUH. BREH.
No.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Oh man. But I know there's one very important quote that I think that we all love. It's very important. I know Buck has a GIF set up for it if Buck would like to play that GIF. Buck, you got it? Ejectocito.
See, that's a cuz, right? He hits the Z.
That's a cuz.
there.
He hit the Z. And that when he said it there, because I was looking at the quote again, I looked at the GIFs of that one. I checked that out again. The Z was definitely there when it wasn't there in other ones. And that's what threw me through a loop of like, all right, are they just
H?
I can't tell if they're trying to read dialogue or if they're just not saying it correctly. Like if it's one of those things like where it's like their own interpretation. John Singleton's like, however you feel like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. This is before Chris Morgan came in to make everything feel like linear and like make sense of it all together. But anything, I know that there's that other one there. Zach, John Ferris, you probably know this one here.
Oh yeah.
There's the one where Brian is going to be given his quote unquote partner before Roman comes in, and he asks him that question.
Yeah,
I assumed one of you guys would do it, so I didn't put that on.
If either of you want to bring that one up, because I thought.
So right quick, what motor would be better for my Skyline? The Gallo 12 or the Gallo 24?
Gallo 24?
24? I didn't know pizza places made motors.
Man, I can't deal with this.
Trying to get me killed.
Yeah. Some of them are just like some of the lines are
classic.
My favorite thing
what's funny though is
one of my favorite parts of these films is the interactions with the two henchmen. Like the two henchmen are hilarious, bro, because he's like, "Alien infidel," and then he starts talking Spanish to them. "How you doing, amigo? Mucho puto pendejo." And then he's like, "Let me clean that windshield. Kiss my ass."
For the record, that's Enrique and Roberto. Okay.
Yeah, and then he
the bald guy is
The
Enrique.
other one fire on the
he lights his windshield on fire.
So good.
My favorite thing is at the end when Enrique's like, "I like you, but I still gotta kill you. it's my job. I was like,
which is insane because they hate each other. They definitely they tried to kill each other on the boat.
They definitely don't like him. And then
the only thing
the
that
button.
they do is the scramble. They have the
Respect,
scramble,
man.
and they're like,
It's
"That was
respect
some
for his
good driving,
driving,
man." Yeah, he's like, "That was
respect
some
the
good
driving,
driving,
dude. I mean, drivers respect drivers.
Can we go back a second? The reason why Brian and Roman got the job was because they passed that test. But can we go back a second because other people took that test and just flat out died on the highway?
Yeah. The guy in the red, Mustang.
They just flat out died on the highway and just like that's it. It's never like it's
right.
It's
so
like Jesse.
people,
It's just no one mentions
Yeah,
that.
let's be honest.
The red Mustang and the silver M3. Those two people just straight up are dead. 100% dead.
Because the silver M3 drives into like the barrels. Of water.
Into the barrier. Yep.
Yeah,
and the Mustang gets run over by an 18-wheeler.
Like
very
straight
dead.
up crushed to death.
Yes. And then the two convertibles, they both crash, but they don't die.
Yeah,
like there was a yellow.
I think they're okay.
Yeah, they're okay, but
there's the Viper and
then the yellow one. The yellow one I think crashes later on. But yes, two people died during the pursuit.
Well, I mean, let's be honest though. In that situation, though, I mean, even if they survived, didn't pass the test, there's no way Carter Vernon wasn't going to ice them or have them killed.
Enrique and Roberto were going to come
too
kill
much.
them.
They know too much.
Yeah,
that's true.
So, it's one thing that's interesting is random people like that died, but who didn't die is Carter Verone, and it was left off. Could Carter Verone come back there? Obviously, it might be a little interesting. It seems like he would want to come back against both Brian and Roman, and if he were to ever return, because everyone returns.
You think he's getting out?
He'll get out. He'll get out.
Oh, he'll get out.
It is. I mean, Brian's gone, right? I mean, at least we hear there's a possibility that he might actually come back with Paul's brother, like CGI performing new stuff in the upcoming movie, which I don't know how to feel about that. Obviously, I really hope they don't do that. But if he only comes back against Roman, it would feel a little odd, just because how Roman was really like second fiddle to Brian the whole way through. But he definitely had a much more antagonistic relationship with Roman. So it could make sense more where if he's doing stuff and then he might recognize Roman and want to do something.
Which, speaking of favorite quotes, I have a quote directly related to that antagonism, which is Carter Verone's quote of, "Hey, your pockets aren't empty. I'll take my cutter back."
Fucking one of mine.
No, here's my favorite.
I think that's my favorite line from Carter Verone. "I'll take my cutter back."
Here's my reverse is when Roman at the end is
I thought you had like 12
bye.
Yeah, I figured you had like 12 or 13 of these.
Yeah.
Ferris,
Roman
what were you going to say?
No, because Roman at the end says, "Bye, Carter. Don't drop the soap." And then Brian's like, "You realize that when he gets out, he's going to kill your ass, right?" Then Roman's like, "He's not getting out." And then Brian laughs.
Oh, he's getting out.
He's not getting out, right?
Out. The don't drop the soap comment has not aged too well.
He also calls him homie right there. Don't drop the soap, homie.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is when Suki's trying to pass Orange Julius and
smack
she
that
only
ass.
Says, no, that's when she like launches. It's when she's like, "Move, bitch."
Oh yeah, that was gonna be my other quotes. It's just Suki is to Too Fast, Too Furious as Lance is to The Fast and the Furious, where literally every line she says is one of my favorite quotes. So yeah, move, bitch, smack that ass.
What a bullet!
All of these things,
amazing,
are incredible.
What a bullet! That was a great line. And I was just like, is that his nickname? Has he been around so long that he's gotten the nickname Bullet?
Yeah.
How much time has passed between The Fast and the Furious and Too Fast, Too Furious?
I think
these are the things that I want to know.
Yeah, I think you hear it 2 or 3 times in this movie, and then I don't think you ever hear that nickname again.
Ever again. And which is odd because Tej definitely comes back. But also, I don't think Tej ever referred to him as Bullet.
He never called him Bullet. He called him Brian.
I think only Suki did. And because Suki doesn't come back, then it's okay that he's not necessarily referred. Also, it doesn't matter if he's referred to it. This franchise couldn't care less about what happened before. No. So but of course, one other thing is
Jeff, I also want to bring up. We had other lines. We had other lines.
Yeah, I was about to say one other thing that we've missed is John.
Yeah.
You have some quotes as well. That you
I
might
mean,
want to say that we haven't talked
my
about.
number one quote that I was gonna, I think you mentioned earlier, my sure Pilgrim says my day off, and when he's got the
Yeah.
it's I guess every time. Another one of my favorite quotes. I mean, obviously the Gallo, and one of my favorite quotes is after they reveal that the package is a cigar, and Rome's like, we know that for a damn cigar, and Carter says, no, you did it for a job, which is, that's what the test is. Like, can you get it? And it's also
Can you do a job?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I'm interrupting you again real quick just to say this. So those other guys definitely just flat out died for a cigar.
Yes.
They they just died for a cigar. I just wanted to bring that up. All right, back to what you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, another one that I was thinking of when he's going in to like talking about the tests and everything, and one of the guys is like, it's like, yeah, are you saying we got to audition? Because like, why do they got to drive for it? And then Carter's like, nobody got a gun to your head. That's it. But totally, as you've alluded to, if they don't do it, and even if they do it and they fail, he's going to kill you because you've seen and too much.
Wait, hold on. They won't kill them though, because Fonzie and Fabio, they're still alive, and they failed.
Yeah, they're still alive.
Wow, Carter Verone, he's a forgiving guy, actually. I mean, look, if he were smart, he would kill them, but wow.
No, he doesn't. Well,
that's a revelation, honestly.
Because he doesn't have a reason to kill him yet.
Well, I believe those are hired muscles by that Monica Fuentes hires them, though.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
probably like their uses, but the other guys are just
they're just honestly, like, they're just retrieving a package. They're not doing anything illegal.
And they could be also deeper part of the organization. So they're like, okay, they're just there to be administer the test, sort of.
Right. So
whereas
as far as
Roman and Brian come in, they're literally just there for the test. They're recruits essentially to pass or fail.
My last favorite quote actually ties into Brian's weird accent and Fonzie and Fabio. It's when Brian says that Yanko will snap a Speedo in 5 seconds flat. That's another line where when you hear it, you're like, what is he? That's not a phrase that anybody has ever said or will ever say. Like, who wrote this line of dialogue? It makes no sense. Why did he say it that way? And again, that's what I love about these movies.
Also, I mean, another thing, going back to food and Roman, and obviously Roman Pierce and future films, loves snacking, loves eating food. When they're getting the meeting, and Markham's got his food there, and Roman reaches like, "Hey, that's my food," and he's like, "So." That's great.
Yeah, Roman Pierce is to the Fast and Furious franchise as Brad Pitt is to the Ocean's films.
Correct, exactly.
Yeah, it's always
that is exactly always eating, and he's
maybe there'll be somebody else we'll see in a future film.
One of my favorite things is in like number 6. He's like, "Hey, which one of these is $1?" Because he's trying to get out of the vending machine, and then all you just see is Hobbs shoot the vending machine twice.
He just picks up like 2 things. Yeah, so we'll get there. We'll get there.
That's for a future conversation. But other than that, I know another thing. Before we move on to the next topic, though, I haven't plugged it yet. We do have a StreamLabs, streamlabs.com/SchmoeMeTheMoney. You can donate, and if you have anything that you want to share that happens to be like your favorite moment, your favorite lines, any of that stuff, you're more than welcome to do it. You can also put it in the chat, but this is a way where you could do it, and also we could profit off of it.
I think one of the quotes is like, "He did the stare and drive on you, didn't he?"
Yeah.
He got that from me.
He got that from me. Which, by the way, insane. Why is Monica Fuentes so calm while that's happening? He's driving 140 miles per hour down a regular old road without looking at the road, and then he slams on the brakes and stops perfectly.
So speaking of that, man, y'all remember that scene of that dude who walks out in the middle of the street?
Oh,
and
yeah.
Both cars zoom past him, and he's like, "Oh Jesus!" That shit was hilarious.
Yeah,
he's so high.
He's so high.
No, there's also other quotes that we've said already, like "Only my homeboys call me Rome," "Pig," "Let's kick it up a nickel."
What do you say we kicking a nickel?
That is the dumbest fucking line.
Right, and that's actually another one where, like, what accent is this? I don't know what. Yeah.
Who says that? But one other thing I just want to bring up is There's a scene. We're gonna go back to how everyone seems to like they'll just talk openly about their plans, like right next to Carter Verone. And there's that scene, and I think it was at Carter Verone's house or whatever, and Brian like puts his hands on Monica Fuentes. I forget if it's her hips or what, and they're talking. And then he's like, and Carter Verone sees that, so he brings them in. He has them sit down and brings
club,
Detective.
That's at the club, right?
Oh, it's a club. Detective Whitworth here from Mark Boone Jr., who ended up becoming a main actor on Sons of Anarchy, where he was pretty good on there. But this is an early role for him.
Yeah,
and
was he in Batman Begins as well?
Yes,
I think he was. Yeah. And that whole scene, I'm watching that scene as he's being tortured. He's being tortured.
Yes.
And Monica Fuentes then is like sitting there, and I'm just thinking, there is a member of law enforcement who at one point is actively aiding and abetting the torture of another member of law enforcement.
Yeah,
and
covers his mouth.
And what's so funny is that it's the one who's not dirty who's aiding and abetting the torture of a dirty one, which
formerly dirty. At the end he still he does not give him the 15. He doesn't give him the 15-minute window.
He didn't take kindly to the threats upon his daughter, his son, and his wife.
Right.
Yeah, again,
and also the rat burrowing into his stomach. He didn't like
that too.
He didn't take kindly to a rat eating the insides of himself.
I do love the moment when he's in the end when he's looking at the photos of his family and is like, I can't do this. It's not worth it.
I also like when Rome tells Brian, "Yo, what the hell was that?" She was into it, man. Talking about Monica holding his mouth when she was very much not into it. She was like,
and then that scene where they're walking in the hallway, then he like pins her against the wall, and he's like, "If you ever touch another man, I'll kill you." It's like, damn,
it's like,
bro.
She definitely didn't like touch him. They like were doing like a conversation where you like having a hand on someone's arm or something. There was
they
no
got
like
a little
actual
handsy. They were like, but brushing each other's hands and shit like that.
But that was like it. There was never anything more, which is great because of course Brian's one true love is Mia, and he can never do anything to betray, as we know down the line. Of course, they got together. So Monica Fuentes was nothing more than just a workplace flirt.
Hold on. They kiss. They kiss on the boat, and they do it very casually, as if they had kissed a million times before that. It's very
maybe
strange.
because it was maybe because it happened. Is there an echo?
I don't know.
No. Not anymore. No, it's gone. But I mean, maybe that one kiss. It's funny. I might have looked at my phone at that point. I don't even remember that happened. It must have been like a real quick kiss thing.
Exactly.
Maybe it was like
it's very casual. Like they're about to part ways, and they just like just a very casual peck, and they're just on their way.
Yeah, all that means is that was their 800th take of that scene. That's why it felt so casual.
Underrated line is Roman when him and Brian are like racing to Carter Verone's car. Is he says, "Why must I chase the cat?" I don't know what that means. It could mean a lot of different things. It could mean something very sexual, or it could mean just some random thing. Why are we chasing cats? We don't know. But I love saying it. Why must I chase the cat? As in
that's why it's your username.
Yes.
I also do want to get to in terms of love interest and with Monica Fuentes, and also the Asuki, who clearly there's something going on with her and Tej and Pot and Brian, because they're all very familiar with each other. I mean, there is some pecks in the cheeks. There's, the dialogue, the hints of, the sexual tension. So, I mean,
there's
what's
only
going on there?
Here's the thing. There's only sexual tension between her and Tej.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. With Tej and Suki, it's like, and they're also pretty overt about their intentions. So even though it doesn't seem like anything is happening between them, they're both very aware of. So obviously that's where the tension comes from.
There's 100% of familiarity with Brian.
Right, with Brian, exactly. Because every time he shows up, it's like he makes a beeline for her. She's like, "Oh, hey," and they give each other a little kiss, and every time though, it's very strange.
Also, and let's not take we don't know how long he was in Miami. He probably became a street racing legend in like a short period of time. It's like, Brian's there. Dang.
That's the whole thing. Like I brought this up. One thing that's very important that I think needs to be mentioned is the first film came out in 2001. The second film came out in 2003. One of the cars he drives is a 2002 car. And if the first film came out in 2001, we'll say that it's a 2000 that it takes place in 2001. That means that within 2 years, he was able to leave LA, go to Miami.
No, Jeff, the Mitsubishis are 2003.
The Evo?
It says on here it's a 2002 Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 7.
I do the fandom website. Check the fandom website.
I'm on the Wikipedia thing here. Either way, they're
both the Evo and the Eclipse are very new.
03. They're both 03.
Yeah. And they're new to maybe. Either way, doesn't really matter. But the whole point is like, how long did it take him? How long did it take him to not only get to find the underground racing in Miami, in there, to get involved, to then actually get to race some, to then get known, to befriend, to get so close that the guy running the whole thing calls on him out of everyone at a moment's notice, knowing this guy can get here in less than 4 minutes. He is that reliable.
Especially when you consider in the Fast and the Furious, he was he was not the best racer.
Yeah, hold up. I want to clear up a little house cleaning. Is Jeff? You were right. One of them was 02, but the other one was 03. So they split them between years.
But also, those are the cars they get from customs. That's not
Tyrese's
car was 03.
Yeah. I'm looking at Brian's. Brian's is an 02. That's what I'm saying. Which, So nothing more than the 03s, and 03s of course always come out the year before.
So yeah, just real quick, I'm just real quick. I'm on the Fast and Furious fandom wiki page. So it says in 2004, the events of the Fast and Furious begins, which includes the Fast and the Furious and events of Too Fast, Too Furious of Brian being in Miami, Florida. So
actually,
wait, what did you say?
No, actually, Hector Navarro told me and John the timeline after our quiz that one night where he broke down the timeline for us.
So wait, how far apart is the first film from the second film? Did you say they both are in 2004?
So according to this, it's a wiki page on fandom.com that it all occurs in 2004.
Yes, not 2001. Not 2001.
I was applying the logic of all the films like when they were released, but I guess that means that it's crazy how much time it took him to interject himself.
Post of all the films being putting together the timeline of all characters, so it might have obviously it could change just on how to fit in everything creatively.
Well, obviously the timelines don't necessarily work when you take into account I don't know, the basic technology of Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift happening after 4, 5, and 6. Yeah. Just that sort of stuff. But anyways, we do have another category here.
Just to put a pin on that, we could definitely assume that the events occur very close together. The first film,
probably close together, which makes it even all the more wild to have Brian be able to go cross country, get himself involved in an underground racing group like that, and then befriend and become the guy for the head for Tej, for the head of all of this stuff, to become that.
Guys, don't forget, he's from Barstow.
He's
from that region. So he probably already had
if
connection.
He's friendly, maybe he was already friendly with Tej. That's true. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
But one thing.
Why do you think Tej never got caught? Because he had a cop as a friend.
Yeah, he had a cop who was a cop on the other side of the country.
No, he was. Yeah, where's that echo?
Yeah, did you hear that too? I don't know.
It was me.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, no, but he was a cop in Barstow first. That's why he couldn't stop Roman from getting arrested. Then he became a cop in LA.
Anyways, so we'll get on to the next topic now. That echo is still there. I don't know where that's coming from. I haven't changed anything here. It's gone now. Okay. That's right. Ferris, shut up. And
never shut up, Ferris. You're my homeboy.
So obviously it's still early in the series, but we do still have a couple of stunts maybe worth mentioning. So maybe these stunts aren't necessarily as outrageous yet, but I do want to know from you guys for this film what you think some of the best stunts were of this.
Still getting an echo.
It's still getting an echo, even though Ferris is muted. Interesting.
So it wasn't.
I don't know what's going on. Tech glitches everywhere. Either way, let's start with Ferris. Ferris, you're the one
John
unmuted.
or Zach. It was John or Zach.
Well, all right. Well, Ferris, you talk first.
So my favorite stunt is it has to be the CGI plane like bridge jump. I like that. Yeah.
That was on my list.
Yeah, that one. It was either that or them driving the Yanko into the yacht. It was one of them.
That was definitely one of my absolute favorite ones. Was the one going to the yacht. I also was a fan of just the whole thing with the helicopter. With the cop helicopter trying to like stop them and deactivate them with like the EMP like rocket launcher thingy that they're doing just with the claws.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna be part of my superhero talk.
Well, we'll get to that. Don't worry. I'm just saying, talking about stunt wise. That's it. I'm only glossing over it. So those are some of my favorite ones. There aren't as many. I do think it is a pretty great stunt to watch that one guy take Verone's test and flat out fucking die being crushed by an 18-wheeler.
There's nothing of that man left.
Nothing. He is gone. He is nothing. He is less than nothing.
He is like a can of sardines.
He is part of the tarmac now. He is part of he is just in the asphalt. But Zach, what are some of your favorite stunts?
I think the bridge jump and the jumping onto the yacht are kind of the two obvious ones. But I think my favorite stunt work from this movie is the scramble at the big warehouse.
Yes.
The level of coordination required, I think, to have all like 100 cars, driving around and some sort of organized chaos there, and nobody running into each other. Pretty impressive. And also all of the trucks that just definitely committed felonies by running into all the cop cars and attempted murder, probably of a police officer. But as a stunt, it was fun.
And John, let's see how it works for you.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite is probably at the end of the film, jumping on from when they jump onto the boat, because typically in film, one of the reminds me of is in Starsky and Hutch when they jump onto the film or they jump onto the boat and then the film. It's like a joke. Usually it's like a joke, kind of funny, haha. They're not going to do it, but I think it's just the coolest shot of when they go, because at the end of the film it's like they have no other choice. They got to do it, and they go for it, and it just saves the day. And it's how
I do want to point out something else that I did write a note about this. With that stunt, when they crash into the yacht, they shoot Verone, and then he's able to be captured, and they save the day. I wrote the note, they actually feel pain. Because when they crash through, Roman goes, I think I broke my arm. And it's obvious that they are not in the best shape. Brian
concussed.
Obviously smashed his head. They are hurt. They're actually they're suffering the after effects of crashing a car into a yacht. Obviously still not as bad as it could have been of what you think in real life that would be. But we're still at the point where they're feeling the repercussions of how that would hit you if you were in the real world. I
think the only person that doesn't feel pain is Dominic Toretto, because everyone else got hurt in the later films. Dominic is the only one who can survive a building falling on top of him driving through a helicopter or a aircraft carrier. Yeah, bullet
no selling. Yeah.
Well, I mean, even in the first film when he crashed into the 18-wheeler and he has to get pulled out of there from the car, he does just kind of get in the car and go away. He's like, I don't need to go to a doctor, despite the fact that I just fucking crushed myself into a truck. So he is definitely more than a man, but less than a god at that point.
Exactly.
So-
Like he just grabs his arm a little, then he gets the key, then he leaves. But yeah.
So, I mean, another really fun one that I really did
He
enjoy.
dies. Like Dominic dies in these movies.
He could have died several times.
No, there's a moment where he does die, but his pure will keeps him from being alive, from dying.
No. It's
The
not
will of a
will.
dead man.
It's not pure will. That is just a stipulation in Vin Diesel's contract that says he can't die. But another thing that I realize, it's not a stunt, but just, I guess it is technically stunts when we just think about how crazy things get with like smashing and everything, but just the ability to kind of organize the scramble of all the cars and to get that to kind of like work. And so you still can't really tell when someone was able to switch out and like, they should have switched out or whatever. Like, to make that kind of work on film as a fun set piece, that's still great. And I just wanted to make sure that I noted that too, as one of the ones that I really liked. But now, we were talking about this. We were talking about, I brought up, they did feel pain. Vin Diesel has died, or he should have died through sheer willpower, etc. There comes the final question. In Too Fast, Too Furious, is this a superhero franchise yet? Zach, it seems like you have a specific thing that you want to bring up.
Right. So to answer the question, in simple terms, no, we are clearly still in the niche action movie vein that we were in for the Fast and the Furious. However, we do get our first instance of sort of like imaginary technology that is sort of a staple of superhero type movies, which is the EMP harpoon claws or something. I have no idea how these things are supposed to work. You can apparently shoot them into the the rear pass or the rear driver's side door of a car, and it will kind of just start shutting the car down for some reason. I don't know why. I'm fairly positive that these things are not real.
Actually,
and
Zach,
never be real.
They're real now. These things actually are real.
Yeah, but this is 20 years ago.
Oh, 20 years ago, yes, you're correct.
We're talking 20 years ago, because remember,
right.
Star Trek had cell phones before cell phones were a thing.
Wait, you think there's something that is real that has three claws that can hit the rear door of a car?
No,
and it will just start shutting down the internal system.
There is an EMP gun,
and they've got a display.
Yes.
Hold on, they've got a display that's showing the engagement of each one of the claws. And as he's fiddling with it, one of them is getting more engaged somehow. He's waiting for it to hit 100% engagement.
Zach, see, you're misquoting me. Not that specific thing, but there is an EMP gun that exists that governments have. Those exist.
Yeah, but it's not a harpoon that you just shoot at cars, and it just like shuts down the internal systems of the car.
You could do that. You could shut down a car if you shoot an EMP at it. You overload its mainframe.
Just not fake technology claw. EMP.
This conversation sounds. This conversation is
the question is this a superhero franchise? And the answer is
yet.
No, it is not, because as Jeff alluded to earlier, they feel pain.
Yes.
And they show that they feel pain.
Yes, it's pretty simple. Real quick, there was a StreamLabs. I forgot to mention it a little earlier. It was from John Lustrina, whoever that guy is. And he had a note here. We ain't hungry no more. What a film. Classic. So thank you, John.
I agree with John Lustrina.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I agree with John. John, do you agree with John?
I do. John? Sounds like a great human being. So I salute him straight in my tie.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, wow. Ferris, first, do you agree with John? And second, is this a superhero franchise yet?
I do agree with John. And no, this is not a superhero franchise yet.
All right.
We're almost there. We're almost there.
We're getting there a little bit at a time. I like what Zach brought up. We are starting to get some more of the weird things. Like the first film was as silly as it was. It stuck firmly. It was firmly rooted in reality. Yeah, sometimes physics were a little weird, but nothing was crazy like an EMP claw gun that you can use to throw off of your car onto the grill of a police car to shut a police car down. That's where it starts to get into more of the sci-fi stuff. Remember, This series started with boosting DVD players, and it ended with The Rock fighting a cyborg so far. So we go from 0 to 100 real quick at some point. But other than that, I mean, final thoughts on the film. I think for me, I didn't like it as much as the first one personally. I thought the first one was like it hit this really great balance for what it wanted to be, and I think a lot of that had to do with it's shameless ripoff of Point Break. I think that really helped with its more compelling story, and it had a lot more of the cliche sort of stuff that you come to love from these kind of movies. And the Vin Diesel of it all really, really helped kind of like cement it to be something that's lasting. Too Fast, Too Furious is not as good, but it is still fun. It is still ridiculous. It is still silly. Ludacris is fine in this one. He's not given as much to do, even though like a lot of us wanted him to be the MVP. It's more like his character than like what he brought to it this time around. Roman is obviously a character that's really enjoyable for how kind of crazy he is. He's so crazy you might actually call him Tyrese Gibson. But other than that, I mean, the movie's good. I enjoy it. It's not great, but it's fun to watch. And I think that there's a big distinction there. But Zach, I know that you used to watch this all the time in college. It was one of your most watched films
in high school and in college. I will agree with you. It's not as good as the Fast and the Furious, but it is one of the two movies that is sort of culturally unique within this franchise. This is the last of the movies that are truly built in this sort of prototypical way that these movies were originally designed to be. Everything from here on out is going to start veering off farther and farther from sort of where we began and sort of what I fell in love with this franchise. The rest of it's all amazing and great, but this one and the first one are kind of in their own stratosphere as far as I'm concerned within the franchise.
Absolutely. Now, real quick, I know we're near the end. I should have brought this up halfway through. We do have 11 of you watching, 13 likes and 2 dislikes. So if we can just even that out, that would be great.
Oh, let me like it again real quick.
Oh, I just saw it liked. Nice. John, if I say even out, it means less likes. John, overall thoughts? I know that you watch this movie all the time.
I mean, I love this movie. I love the first two. I love all these movies, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
To me, these first two, they're so great. Paul Walker is the heart of this movie. He's great in it. He just looks like he's just in it. He wants to be there, which is important. I would say, I would agree that the first film, original, I think because it has the dynamic of Vin Diesel and Paul Walker together, I think that's stronger. But this movie, every time I watch this movie, it's fun. This movie is very fun. There's an argument to make that nothing happens in this movie, which is totally fine. It's still fun, but I would definitely say, the first one is better, superior. But this one is just so fun. It's a great ride. Roman Pierce is a great character. He's very different in future films. That's just sort of where everything goes. But there's, Carter Verone is a much stronger villain than Johnny Tran and Lance. I would say. I think it's more interesting because you could argue that Vin Diesel is the villain of the first film, but I don't agree with that. It's obviously those losers, Johnny Tran and Lance. But this is a great ride. It's great fun. It's definitely building of the franchise. Yeah. It's great. It's fun.
Yeah. I do think that I actually disagree in your assessment that nothing happens from this film. Besides the introductions of Tej and Roman, one very important part is, if I'm not mistaken, in Fast and Furious, the fourth one, Brian's an FBI agent at that point, right?
Yes.
He's joined the FBI. Mm-hmm. So he only is able to probably officially be able to get on board and join the FBI because of the events of this film that both wipe out his record as well as get him back in the good graces of law enforcement. So this film is vital to his path forward to being able to be a part of the events of the fourth film.
Do you guys think Customs has the ability to wipe out his record to a point that the FBI doesn't know?
No. See, here's the thing. Billikens is the one who wipes his record.
Yeah,
the FBI.
He was there in the first. He was there in the first film. He's there overseeing stuff in the second film. So they it's not like they don't know his record. They're very well aware of Ryan's record at that point.
Right. You just said the fact that he gets his record wiped is why he's able to get a job with the FBI. And I was thinking, I forgot that Billikens was also an FBI agent, right?
The reason he got the FBI job is because Billikens basically like wiped it and vouched for him and basically gave him a job. I think they should have used Billikens in Fast and the Furious, but they replaced him with some jabroni and Chi Wiggum. You know, like Chi Wiggum is the guy who gets his nose broken, and the other dude, I don't know who the fuck that guy was.
No. We'll talk about that in a couple of weeks when we get to that movie.
Yeah, Che Wiggum is Stasiak, the guy above Stasiak.
Shea Wiggum?
Whatever his name is. He looked like Gary Sinise, to be honest. Who cares? Yeah. Okay,
but anyways, Ferris, what are your final thoughts on Too Fast, Too Furious?
I love this film. You know, I'm probably gonna say this every week because I do. I love them all. This film has a special place in my heart because I kind of don't like what they did with Roman. I still love the films going down, but I kind of don't like what they did with Roman in like the later films because they kind of made him like a scared punk. In this film, he's a psychopath. Dude is crazy. He's crazy. And knowing the fact that Carter Verone is still like a top 5 villain in this franchise is kind of funny to me because he's only behind Owen Shaw, Deckard Shaw, Cypher, and Baraga. He's number 5.
Cypher is kind of lame, but we'll get to that one, and maybe I'll think differently about
it.
We
haven't seen the end of Cypher, so
we haven't seen the end of Cypher. Cypher's going to have a new haircut, so.
Yes, thank God.
Thank God. But
minimum, he's a top 5 villain. Minimum.
Yeah, minimum. Yeah, I mean it's funny though because
he's way better. He's way better than DK. Like I'm gonna be real. DK was a bitch.
Yeah, because like I don't even remember who the villain was in Fast 5. The villain wasn't even he was a placeholder for the real antagonistic relationship with Hobbs. At that point. And
Hobbs ain't a villain because
Yeah, exactly.
His job.
Exactly.
What's his, it's Hernan Reyes. That's his name. Played by Thomas Almeida or Joaquin Almeida.
Joaquin Almeida.
But anyways, man, we're gonna get to there. We're gonna get there in a couple weeks. We're gonna be able to keep talking this. It's really fun to revisit these movies and talk about this with I enjoy the movies when I watch them. I've never been like someone who's like a devout fan of them, so it's been really fun to continue to talk with people who fucking love these movies and quote them verbatim every day. So I really enjoy it.
Tokyo next week, baby.
Yeah, we are going to Tokyo next week, and I believe we will have a guest on. Oh, we already got it ready. Nice. Look at that. We already know on the left side. Yes. Yeah, we will have a guest. I am going to confirm. I believe. We're going to have Maxwell Haddad of the PJ Campbell Network on to talk Tokyo Drift because this is his favorite. I gave him he gave a couple of his favorites, and I said, "Which one do you want to be on?" He said, "Tokyo Drift." So,
you know what? Tokyo Drift has the best song by the Teriyaki Boys. Boop, boop,
Tokyo. All right. So, anyways, goodbye, Buck.
You're very quiet.
Yeah.
You gotta crank that.
I think he made a Ben Bateman dig. So he's like, Ben Bateman's probably not going to watch our show.
Yeah. I mean, we wanted to reach out. We wanted to reach out to Ben Bateman, but we can reach out to him for 7.
We can reach out to him for 7.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, 7. Yes. Hey, this is the film Lucas Black came back for, Ben. This one.
Yes. This one. This one. So,
we'll educate the man. We'll educate the man about one of the biggest franchises in the world. And he should know.
But anyways, I'm going to go through just the whole where can people find you. But I mean, Zach, people, you don't use your social media stuff to cite.
Nope,
so
you can find me here on this show.
Yeah, there's a YouTube channel that Zach has that has one video posted with nearly 1 million views. You could find that video. Other than that, nothing much. He pops up on here. Yeah, we'll talk about it later. It's funny. But yeah, John, where can people find you?
I mean, every week you can find me right here talking Fast and the Furious, which is awesome. Also, next Tuesday, the 16th, Austin 316 Day, you can find me on What's the Show, talking about wrestlers in film.
Yeah, they better call that episode John 316.
They better.
They better, man. And Ferris, where can people find you?
Yeah, so for the next couple of weeks, you'll find me here talking Fast and Furious. Love it. But every Friday at the Let's Get Ready Network, we talk our show, the Let's Get Ready to Talk Schmoe podcast, every day, every Friday at 6:00, and the Highlight Sports Show every Monday 4:00. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
And just to clarify, Ferris talking Pacific Standard or Pacific.
Pacific
when
Standard,
I say stuff, he's Pacific.
Yeah. So,
I'm in Philly, so
6 PST, 9 EST, 6 Central, 8 Central.
Sunday is daylight saving, so we'll be moved to Eastern Daylight Time.
Yeah, EDT, PDT.
Thursdays. We're doing Thursdays, guys.
Daylight savings needs to be abolished or not put in the middle of the weekend. But on top of that, next week we will be moving the show from Fridays at midnight Eastern to Thursdays at 9:30 Eastern. About around 9:30 Eastern, depending. Just because we know we got there's so much Schmoedown stuff that's happening. So we know for Ferris, which he's got to be on for this stuff. For Friday nights when all the pay-per-views and everything, we know LGR is going to go real long. We want to make sure Ferris can definitely be here, and we want to accommodate and make sure everyone else can fit, so it's not always so late at night on the weekend.
Yeah.
Other than that,
also,
this channel,
I have a Twitter at Ferris Muthana on Twitter. I'll follow if you follow me. I'll follow you back. Just give me a minute.
Yeah, he's a follow for follow guy. He's definitely a follow for follow whore.
Well,
guys, I just want to confirm. We have 10 people watching. We have 10 people watching, 18 likes and 2 dislikes. If we could even that out, that would be great.
Let me open it up on another tab. 1 second.
Yeah,
you know what?
Hold on a second. 1 second.
Well, you can't like it unless you have a new account. So,
I have several.
Oh, well, thanks for artificially inflating our numbers, man. And remember, guys, you can find me at GEOFF1106. That's my Twitter account. That's my Instagram. I don't really use that much, but use my Twitter. We have a lot of stuff here. Tuesdays at 9:30 Eastern. We do have our main show, Schmoe Me the Money, where we recap and break down the previous week's Schmoedown matches with a panel of guests who get to give their opinions, and then Buck and I judge the shit out of them. No, Star Drew, I don't want more dislikes. That's not what I meant. I wanted less likes because we had less people watching. That's definitely what I meant to say, of course. So, but after this is done, if you could please make sure if you haven't liked it, like it. If you dislike it, doesn't really matter. It adds to the same fucking algorithm. But if you can make sure, if you haven't, please subscribe and please leave a comment if you like this stuff. If you want to see us start to do another franchise after the Fast and Furious, let us know your thoughts. Just comment. You can literally say anything. It always just helps algorithms.
Let's do Mission Impossible next.
I would say Mission Impossible, Bad Boys, TMNT. Let's fucking go.
We got a few. You know what we'll do? We'll figure that out, and maybe we'll do a poll on Twitter as we get closer to the end of this series, because this is a pretty long series, so we got time.
If we do Mission Impossible, hey, call me. It's my second favorite franchise.
Absolutely. And then we'll make sure that we do that on Thursdays then if we do that. Yes. Other than that, thanks for watching, everyone, and keep watching those movies.